Please hand in all of your homework with a Harding heading on it if it's on a separate sheet of paper, with your name on it if you're handing in the paper from the packet. And then if we can pause the video here a moment for students to take out paper for taking notes. Today we're talking about solving inequalities using multiplication or division. This is 3.5 in your textbook. The multiplication property of inequality says that multiplying each side of an inequality by a positive number produces an equivalent inequality. So if we have m divided by 3 greater than 27, if this had been an equal sign, we would have multiplied by 3 on both sides, and we would get that m is greater than 81, leaving the sign in the same direction. Where multiplication and inequalities is different is if we multiply each side of an inequality by a negative number, and then we must reverse the direction of the inequality symbol, and that will produce our equivalent equation. So if we do m divided by a negative 3 is greater than 27, we must then multiply by a negative 3. So we are now multiplying both sides by this negative number. That means that we must change the inequality sign, and we will get m is less than negative 81. Please pause the video here for a moment so students can copy down the notes. Here's some that we're going to practice. We're going to pause the video again here so that you can do the practice. And now I'm going to solve them. We're going to multiply both sides by the 6. We end up with h. The 6 is positive, so it stays the same. Negative 4 times 6 is negative 24. The one on the bottom, we're multiplying by the negative 3. That means that we're going to switch the sign, and we're going to do 18 times negative 3, and we're going to get negative 54. The division property of inequality says if you divide each side of an inequality by a positive number, it will produce an equivalent inequality. So if we have 3m less than 24, and we treat it like we would as if there was an equal sign to start, we'll divide both sides by 3. We'll end up with m less than 6, leaving the sign the same. When we have to divide each side of an inequality by a negative number, we must reverse the direction of the inequality symbol to produce an equivalent expression. So if this were negative 3m less than 24, we would then be dividing by the negative 3 on both sides, and we would end up with m greater than, switching the signs, negative 6. Pause for a moment here so students can write down the notes. Now we're going to practice a few, so if you would pause the video again, students may do the practice problems. Once we're all done, now I'm going to answer the questions. So we're going to divide both sides by the 5, which is positive, so we're going to leave the sign, and we get negative 7. On number 3, we are dividing by a negative 7. That means we're going to switch the sign, and now we have negative 63 divided by negative 7, and we get a positive 9. Writing and solving an inequality. If you are at bat 250 times this baseball season, how many hits must you get to have a batting average of at least 0.452? We're going to let h represent the number of hits, and we're going to write a verbal model. So the hits divided by the at-bats is greater than or equal to the target batting average. We get the greater than or equal to from the at least in the question. So now we're going to do H is the part we're missing, so that goes on top with hits. Our at-bats, it says we were at-bat 250 times in the problem. And then it says that it has to be at least 0.452 from the problem. Then we're now going to multiply both sides by the 250, and we'll end up with H greater than or equal to 113. It was not necessary to change the sign because we multiplied by a positive number. Pause the video here so students may copy down the problem. Now we're going to practice writing the verbal sentence as an inequality. It says 5 times a number is at least, so I'm going to underline at least. A number divided by 4 is at most. Number 32, a number divided by -3 is less than. Number 33 says 7 times a number is greater than. Number 34 says a number divided by 2 is no more than. And number 35 says 3 times a number is more than. And those are your keywords to help you write the inequalities. What I would like you to do now is to actually write those inequalities in numbers, and then I'd like you to solve them. Pause the video here a moment for students to complete numbers 30 to 35. Here are your answers. Please check your answers against the board. You can pause the video here a moment to check the answers. Any that the students get wrong, they should just circle, and we can discuss on Monday. Here's a word problem. A herd of caribou can migrate as far as 36 miles in 24 hours. You're going to write and solve an inequality to find the average speed in miles per hour at which caribou can migrate. And then a caribou herd has been moving for 3 days. On a number line, graph the distance in miles the herd could have traveled. And in 47, you'll read the question and then solve the problem. You will need to do a number line graph for B. We're going to pause the video here so that you have some time to solve the word problems. Here are the answers to the word problems. Part A, 24s less than or equal to 36, and you should have come up with 1.5 miles per hour or less. Part B, the graph is at the bottom. Notice that they've colored in the 108 because the 108, because your answer would have been less than or equal to 108, and it's because of the equal part that we color in the 108 dot, and then we make the arrow go to the left to indicate numbers that are less than or equal to 108. And on number 47, your answer should be not more than 1.66 feet squared. Tonight for homework, you're going to do 3.5 in the packet that you have. Please bring any questions to class on Monday.